All right, Hugo. So at the moment, if you can see behind me, I'm just going to allow my colleague Gifngosi to show you. These are the visuals. The bodies are now being removed from this particular sports field where the mass funeral service was actually held. So from here, we understand that what is going to be happening is that the families are now going to proceed with their private burial. And from there, I know various people are going to different places. Some of them are going to Kwanongoma. There's already a family, as you have seen there were actually 8 bodies that were here, and because there's already a family, the Mkwanazi family, which had already left for a burial to Kwanongoma. But I also know some of them are going to Newcastle, as well as some also going to Mbazwana. The funeral service was actually attended by the Deputy Transport Minister, who actually spoke about some important things. Some of them, stressing on his concerns around safe transportation when it comes to the roads of KwaZulu-Natal, but also something important which he did reveal, telling us that according to the RTMC, they had given him a report this morning that is a preliminary investigation report, which suggests that the cause for this particular accident was as a result of driver fatigue. So in this case, it is the tow truck driver that was fatigued. But also, he did mention that there is also, an issue around the other driver who was driving the vehicle, as that particular vehicle had been found to have been overloaded, stressing on the importance when it comes to the compliance of road rules over there, and also discouraging congregants and also motorists from loading people exceeding their vehicle capacity. But I mean, it was quite a very emotional send-off today. We also did get an opportunity to see some of the affected families take to the podium and also speaking about what they're going to be remembering about their loved ones, and also some of them, as you have seen, that it is 7 women which tragically died here, women who were leading, who were the head of their homes, but now they have left their children behind. Some of them do not know where to from here, and obviously, they did also say that this was incredibly devastating for them, and they are hoping that government is going to be able to assist them. I'm going to bring into the conversation Deputy Minister of Transport, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, to speak to us. Thank you so much for your time, Deputy Minister. If we could first speak about the findings, a preliminary report that you have received points to the fact that the driver was fatigued. If you could tell us a bit more about that, and also your observations of this particular funeral service that was held here today.
Well, at the outset, I want to reiterate the condolences of Minister Christie and myself on this tragedy that befell all of us on Sunday morning as we were about to launch the UN Global Week on Road Safety. It is certainly not the start that we wanted, and certainly it does not build on the gains that we made over the Easter weekend and the successive weekends that we did road safety intervention. So it certainly is a major setback on our road safety interventions. Yes, this morning I did receive a preliminary report from the Road Traffic Management Corporation, an entity of the department. What we do is that a major accident classified with 5 casualties or more, we dispatch the RTMC to work with the local investigators, and so we worked with KwaZulu-Natal's RTI and the SEPS, and the preliminary finding is that the accident is as a result of driver fatigue on the part of the driver of the tow truck, which rammed into the vehicle that was ferrying the congregants here. There's been no finding of mechanical or technical faults on either of the vehicles. It is as a result of driver fatigue and an inability to respond in real time to be able to deal with what was happening on the road. Obviously, the investigation is still ongoing. At the same time, whilst that may be the finding, the other key observation is that the Hyundai Bakkie, which was ferrying the congregants, was overloaded. We had 23 people in there, and whilst that may not have been the cause of the accident, but the consequence of that in the accident has been the high number of fatalities that we have experienced. And so we continue then to make the clarion call. One, drivers must rest every 2 hours, every 200 kilometers, particularly when they are driving or traveling at night. Secondly, we've got a duty and a responsibility in how we use vehicles to use them correctly. So we must not overload. We must ensure the worthiness of vehicles. You would have seen just a few weeks ago when we were with the RMI, amongst others, the opening up of testing centers to ensure, for free by the way, that vehicles must actually be roadworthy. So it is very, very problematic what we continue to observe on our roads. The whole ecosystem obviously does require other interventions, and this is from infrastructure to public education, driver behavior, ensuring we've got the correct drivers, we've got roadworthy vehicles. And so the review, which I did mention earlier on, of the National Road Safety Strategy is currently underway, and in this week actually that we're starting tomorrow, the interdepartmental team with our entities will be seized with revamping that strategy for 2030, and we are hoping to table it by the end of this year to cabinet. So we really are saddened, obviously, and I do believe that the work that we are doing, once things fall into place and properly, will be able to yield results. But I must emphasize that road safety is a two-way street. It's two sides of the same coin in terms of the interventions that we make and how the road uses in the entirety, from pedestrians to drivers and so on. So it's a symbiotic relationship that we need to, mutually symbiotic relationship that we need to cultivate. So there's a huge onus on the users, and it's evident in this accident. The driver should have rested, he should have been observant, and at the same time we should not be overloading, because when a calamity happens, it's extreme.
So let us talk about the driver of the vehicle, right? Because we have been speaking about the driver of the tow truck, and that, action is going to be taken because road rules were contravened. But you're also mentioning that the other vehicle was also overloaded. Can we expect to see some sort of an action which is to be taken for that particular driver of the vehicle that overloaded?
Well, obviously, the expectation now is that this preliminary report must go to the SAPS for the purposes of the investigation. And the one technicality is that from a weight perspective, that vehicle was not overloaded. So if you do the weight calculations, but if you look at the fact that the vehicle is prescribed to ferry 3 persons. So those are all the things that the investigation must now take forward. On the part of the driver of the tow truck, a similar outlook must prevail, in that we've done an investigation, we've got preliminary findings. It should be sufficient basis for the purposes of consequence management, a successful prosecution. And I want to thank the RTMC for a very speedy intervention insofar as the investigation was concerned. In speaking to them on Sunday, they dispatched the team immediately on Monday, and the mutual cooperation that we've had with the RTI, it's now really in the hands of the law enforcement. At the same time, obviously, the same report will be a basis upon which the Road Accident Fund will be able to look at the set of circumstances. And then lastly is that we still have people in hospital, and so we continue to offer prayers and support, and I wish all of them a speedy recovery as well, and hope that we will not endure any further casualties arising out of this accident.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. That was the Deputy Minister for Transport, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, speaking to us and just giving us a sense of their findings so far, making it clear that the law now would also have to take its course following those particular findings, but obviously a conclusion has not yet been reached, as these are just preliminary investigations and the findings from that particular report. But now it also brings to, the spotlight the issue of safe transportation, especially here in KwaZulu-Natal, as this is not something which is new. It's something which has been going on for quite some time. Hugo.
Phila, a few moments ago, whilst you were in conversation with the Deputy Minister, we noticed certainly a number of people that appeared to be recovering from some form of injury, some in crutches, some that were scarred, suggesting an accident of some sort. Are there any individuals, any of the survivors present at the funeral bidding farewell to some of their church colleagues?
Absolutely. There are some survivors that were actually here. Some of them even took to the podium. Those people actually survived that fatal crash. But we were told that these are the ones that were able to walk and who are not as injured as the ones that are currently in hospital. But what we were also told is that there's a child which was actually released from hospital just for this particular funeral service, and then they're going to be taken back for further medical care. So at this point, yes, Hugo, they were able to attend to this particular funeral service. Some of them are still also recovering from home, but it seems as if it's still quite a long road to recovery for them.
Phila, Mthembu, appreciate your time on the sidelines of that funeral for 8 of those individuals who died in a car crash on the N2 last Sunday near Mtubatuba. Appreciate your time, Phila.